We're making waves and keeping it real. It's Real Talk Roadie with Becca Berger.
92 Pro FM. It's Becca Berger. We're talking right now with Noah Fernley. You see him every week in Love Story over on Hulu and Disney Plus. It has taken not just all of us, but really the internet by storm. Every time I open up Instagram and TikTok, it's somebody's rendition or take on it. Hi, Noah.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. Now, before we get into Love Story and the Michael Bergen of it all, let's just talk about how you're a New Englander. You're from Connecticut.
I am from Connecticut, born and raised
What part of Connecticut?
near Yale, New Haven. Do you know?
Of
Like,
course.
like
That's
Orange. I grew up in Orange.
Orange, Connecticut. Like you said,
Yeah,
that's like about an hour and a half from Providence. Do you make it back to New England often?
I do. I'm in New York. I'm in New York a lot. I find myself in New York a lot. Providence. I grew up going to Providence because I had an uncle that lived there, so we would go on the weekends and we would go around town and stuff. So I've been going there since I was a kid, actually.
Yeah, so you're familiar with the vibe.
I am familiar.
Let's talk about Love Story. I mean, I'm sure you get this question a lot, but was it weird to sort of play somebody who is very much living and breathing?
I wouldn't use the word weird, but I would necessarily say it's something that holds a lot of um, there's a lot of moving parts to it. You want to make sure that you respect the person that you are portraying. You want to obviously contribute to the show. You obviously have your own personal things and perspectives. On top of this show, you also have the story of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette that's absolutely beloved by so many individuals. So there's a lot. It's also a Ryan Murphy show. I mean, so Ryan Murphy's an icon of the generation. So there's a lot of moving parts of the show. But yeah, it was pretty incredible.
And did you connect with the real Michael Bergen throughout your process at all?
Um, Michael and I have spoke. Michael is, let me tell you, Michael Bergen is an incredible guy. He's obviously moved on from the world that was back then. He has some wonderful kids and a wonderful wife, and he's living a completely different life now, of course, but he's if you speak to him in real life, he is a wonderful, wonderful human being. And I just love talking to him. I mean, we've talked here and there and we've spoken, and I think, and we're gonna get together soon, I think. But he's a really good guy. He is.
It's cool to hear that you connected with him. And has he shared with you how he feels about your take on his life during that time?
I think that's a conversation maybe we'll have in person. Um, you know, let me tell you something. That is an interesting thing to go through. I don't know how many people have to go through that when you actually talk to the person that you learned about their life and everything about them, and then you go down this rabbit hole of like, uh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Noah. It's very scary. Okay. You don't know how they're gonna take it, or you
Yeah.
want to make sure that they're my goal was I wanted to make sure I respected Michael as much as possible, him, his story, his family, his life, his everything. It's very vulnerable. It's very scary. So many things can go about. You never know who the guy is that is put into this position. And so
Mm.
I wanted to make sure that I held all that for him, and that was just my goal, making sure that he was respected as well as contributing to the show as much as possible.
That's a tall order. And every week you're crushing it. And when you were filming it, when the cast was filming in New York City, that's a different kind of set, I'm guessing, because you're filming in the place where everything really took place. And you have people just, I remember the paparazzi photos coming out of the filming of Love Story. So what was all of that like?
Um, Definitely a new experience for me. I've been doing this acting thing for I'm going on my sixth year, and
Hmm.
I have I have put my hours in. I'll say that I've definitely put my hours in, but we're talking. This is a completely different thing. This is a Ryan Murphy show to start off. Then you have a this is a true story, one that's JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. Now there's a real life individual that I'm portraying. There's a lot of moving parts. So um, for this story in particular, I was very grateful to be a part of it. I learned so much. I connected with a lot of people. Um, and what a journey it was. But yeah, it was definitely something new for me, and I had to navigate it. But by going through it, it changed me, which a lot of things do. People go through things that make them nervous, that give them emotion that they're not used to. But when you get through it, it changes you as an individual by providing more to your being. And that's what it did for me, for sure.
Well, and lastly, I just have to ask you. So I'm not sure if you're somebody who is habitually online or not, but the response to this has been really crazy. I mean, people are doing their own renditions on TikTok. They're playing Carolyn. They're playing JFK Jr. They're playing you. What do you think of the response?
Well, the story well, I can only speak for my section, which is I portrayed Michael Bergen.
Hmm.
That's all I can speak on. Although, like I said before, JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, their story was absolutely beloved. The reason I know a lot about it is because my mother and my grandmother spoke about it my whole childhood. They absolutely loved JFK Jr. How could you not?
Mm.
Very good looking guy. Um, but in my section of this, I deep dove into the story of Michael Bergen. And Michael and I were very similar. I read his book. He came out of the book called The Other Man. And I deep dove into that book, and I listened and I conceptualized his viewpoints, and the show was based on a different book, but I read Michael's book. Why? Because I'm portraying Michael. I want to know,
Mm.
perspectives and all the things, and so I did that, and it was a wonderful journey to come in with. I can't speak for other people, but I don't believe anybody else in the cast probably read Michael's book. Why would they?
Mm.
But I did. And so it's so funny because when you have, Sarah and Paul and Alessandro and everybody from the cast, everybody did their own research on their own individual life person. And so it's funny when everybody's knowledge comes together in one room. Then you also have personal perspectives on top of that layer. And then you have this story that you need to portray. And then it's Ryan Murphy show. There's a lot of layers to it. So very fascinating, in my opinion, to just watch this thing concept.
It truly is, and it's been a lot of fun to watch every week. Noah, thank you so much. Love Story new episodes are every Thursday on both Hulu and Disney Plus. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.